Hello, everybody. Welcome back in. I am back with another sit down with Skriv. Not done these for a little while. We were just noting on that there, mates, that it's been a while since I've done one, but definitely happy to be on. I suppose we'll kick off with the easy question. How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. Early, but I'm great.
Yeah, we're nice and bright and early. I suppose it's always good to start the day with a bit of CS related content. Maybe the people out there starting with that as well. Speaking of starting, to kick off the interview here, I think it'd do a lot of good before we get into sort of some of the nitty gritty questions. How does your history look? How did you get into CS? How long have you been playing? And then we could maybe expand on your roles from there. But to start with, yeah, how did you get into CS?
Yeah, so it's a long story. I think my story is maybe not the traditional one in some sort of sense, but I've never like played any game ever, like computer game. I've only played FIFA when I was a kid, and I always did like handball, football, like those kind of like sports. So that's also always what my like focus have been. But then I think I don't know, like it started when I was like 14, I think, and stuff like that. I played like 1.6 when I was 14, at my grandma's PC, because we cracked like a version at her place because we didn't have a PC ourselves and stuff. And then from there, like a year after, my brother got the game, and I started playing on his account, and then I played, and then I ended up getting my own account. Fast forward, and then yeah, I started playing, and at some point I thought this is what I wanted to do, and I just decided to go all in with it, and here we are.
Yeah, indeed. Would you say it's like the competitive element that drew you in? Then you said you played a lot of sports. There is that part of why CS drew you in?
Yeah, definitely. Like I rarely play any other games. Like it's just CS, and I do this like to win. Like there's no like. There's of course fun sometimes, and I enjoy it a lot because it's what I like to do. Um, But I do this to like win. So all I do all day, I don't like really play Faces that much. Only if I feel like it's necessary for me, or else it's just like DM demos, practicing and like talking theories and stuff with other guys.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, right? That's certainly where your angle is at. Let's talk about more about the game then. As I kind of mentioned before we started, I think it'd be really interesting to get some insight into the sort of IGL role. Was that something that you set out to do immediately, or did you move into it later on in your career, as it were? What's the thinking behind being an IGL?
Um, I started actually being like a rifler back when I played in Danish CS, and I played for a while, and then at some point I changed from Danish CS. I played like the Power League, and what I think it's called Power League right now, like the top division there. And then I would like kind of had a break for like 2 weeks, and I usually like I don't take breaks, but I had like a 2 week break. I don't remember why. I think I was in like Spain or something. And when I came back, like the team disbanded, and then I got an offer from like a Swedish team. It
Mm.
was called Falcon back in the day. I'm pretty sure it was called. Uh, so I played with those guys, and I just from there like it didn't go that good. Four Swedish guys, a Danish guy, you know. So it ended up not going good, and I ended up making another team with like I think two of those players from that team. And from there I actually started to call because they were like, oh, because I've always been the like kind of the leader on the team, like the guy that is like preparing and like showing up, like getting like guys ready and stuff like that. So they were like, I think we should try it, and I tried it, and I just, as I said before, like it's just a commitment I made at the point. Like I said, okay, this is what I do now, and then that's just what I did, and I've been doing it ever since.
So, talk to me a little bit about the Danish scene then, and coming up in the Danish scene, because it's something that I've talked to like a few of the pros, and talked to Snappy especially, and he says that kind of just the level of like communication, even, and the level of dedication, things like that, are really really high in the Danish scene. Even if you go all the way down into kind of like the tier 3 up and coming players. So would you say that you noticed that playing with other teams and playing with other players from different nationalities, that you have a bit more of the fundamental team play skills? Are they better, or is it a bit of a myth maybe that Danish Counter Strike is like that?
I think Danish CS is good. Like I think it's really professional compared to some of the other like international projects that I've played on. And I think I don't know if it's a culture thing or what it is, but I think Danish CS is like super professional. But I also think that there is not like that much in Denmark right now compared to like international. And this is why I went from like it's kind of like at least it was back when I started playing like competitive CS. It was like a lot more like friendly in the top scene. So it was like the friends picked up each other and stuff like that. So I never really was like in that thing. Um, and then I just ended up going into international. And now for me, like let's say now for example, I think international is a way better option for a guy like me because I think like there's limits in Denmark right now to who I can join, who I can like play with, because the teams are pretty set at the top, and the lower teams there's kind of like a gap right now in the Danish scene, where there's like really good teams, and then there's like teams that are not really there yet.
Mm.
So I think in general, I think there's a lot of good things with Danish years, and I think for me personally, I've learned a lot from some of the Danish guys, but not on a team. It's more like when I'm friends with them and I talk with them and play with them and stuff. But I definitely think there's something with the Danish years that's I would say interesting because there's a lot of team play and stuff that I don't see, and it's a lot what I bring when I play international teams. Like they're all like, we're not used to this. This is not how we're used to play and stuff like that. Because it's a lot more like thought out and like based on agreements and stuff like that. The game.
Right. So would you say that it's kind of benefited your style a little bit then to kind of come from, it may well have impacted the IGLing and the like. So playing in the Danish scene has been sort of beneficial for you. Just to kind of quickly answer that one.
I don't think the Danish scene has been beneficial for me since I haven't played
Okay.
it that much. But I think the Danish guys and the Danish knowledge has definitely been beneficial for me.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I think that's a good way to sum it up. So let's move on a little bit then. We talked a bit about the IGL role. What do you feel are kind of some of the focuses as an IGL? What are some of the core fundamental things that you need in order to get noticed as an IGL, right? Because at the top of the game, there's a bit of a starve of IGLs at the moment. There's a number of teams that are struggling because their IGLs maybe can't put up the numbers or, indeed bring the reads and do their job. So how do you feel the IGL role functions? What do you think is important about it?
I think leadership, first of all, is the most important thing. I think you get a long way with that. And I think I've always said that I think fracking is really important. But as you see now with Huxi, for example,
Mm.
like the guys, I watched some demos of them, and it's not like he's not killing them because he actually is. He's just playing a lot of sacrifice roles and stuff like that. Definitely not as strong as Nico in aim wise, but he is still a good player, I think. So I think like leadership is the most important thing, and then I just think being able to like control the mid rounds is super important, and like just I like a lot to just play with the enemy, like when I spawn call and stuff like that, to like send signals and condition and stuff. But I think if you understand like the basics and you're good at like controlling mid round, I think you'll get a long way just by doing that and then being able to shoot a bit.
Yeah, and so how do you feel kind of in the the lower tiers of competitive Counter Strike? Obviously you played in the academy system. We can talk about that a little bit in a few minutes, but I'm just kind of curious. How do you feel as an IGL you get noticed? What are maybe the things that you get noticed for? Is it like, oh, this guy can actually frag out while leading the team, or is it more of a you maybe have to prove yourself a little bit more word of mouth, because it can be hard sometimes unless obviously they're in the team speak with you to really know what the IGL is bringing.
Yeah,
Who's coming up with those reads? Maybe it's someone else from the IGL actually that's mid rounding, because there is a lot of cross talk that goes on in sort of tier 2, tier 3 teams. So how do you go about getting noticed and picked up by better teams?
I think word of mouth definitely the strongest thing there is. So that's really important. But I also think that like the other thing you mentioned is it kind of depends on the pre-work of the team that picks you up. Because some teams that I've like played with have said, oh, they saw that I was an IGL that could frag. That's one thing, and some other guys said like they watched our demos and they saw the way that I approach the game and the way that I like to like mid round and stuff, and they like that a lot. So there's like a lot of difference there depending on who has like done the pre work from before picking me up. So that's like definitely a thing. But I think for IGLs and for IGLs to be like seen and stuff, I think um I don't know, it's hard because I think fracking is important in like the tier 2, tier 3 thing, rather than tier 1. Like if you see a tier 1 team and the IGL is not fracking that much, you're like, man, like they're winning, who cares? But if you see a tier 2 team or tier 3 team, like the only way that a tier 1 team wants to pick them up is if they are also killing people. Um, so there's definitely something to that.
Indeed, indeed. All right, cool. We'll move on then because I want to talk about your time with Fnatic Rising and the Academy League and all that kind of stuff. Right, a topic that comes up a fair bit at the moment. Not sure where it's at, whether it's occurring again. Unfortunately, I think there's definitely a bit of a pause, but that's not for us to say really. But you obviously played in a few seasons there. Do you think the Academy League is the better way for a player like yourself, a player of your kind of skill, stature, but maybe not getting the notice that you need? Is the Academy League a better place for you to do that, or do you prefer functioning within the open circuit?
I think replay was definitely a really good thing. I think a lot of guys benefited from that. So I think it was actually really great. I think it was a nice project. I think you can do both, but I think when you have a thing like we play, a tournament like we play, and people are actually watching, because this is what people were watching to see the talents. Like people are not watching CCT to see, oh, this is the next big guy coming up, but people were watching like we play because it's the young guys to say like, oh, this is the next big guy, So I think in that sense, the way that people saw it is the reason that people got like spotted and noticed and stuff. So I think Weebly was definitely a really good thing for a lot of guys.
Mm. Do you think it kind of improves you at Team CS? Because we always felt sort of watching from the outside that there was this element of a little bit more team play and a bit more structure to the way that the game goes. You kind of know the matchups that you're going to get a little bit earlier, this kind of thing, and the way the format works out. Obviously, a little bit of LAN play in there at one point as well. So do you think it helped you improve, the Team CS? It felt more official, more prestigious, maybe?
That's a hard question because I don't think that it like helped us become better in a sense. But I think, for example, when we won replay, like that definitely gave some confidence to all the guys. So like that's something we could build further on. But I think in general, I think the best thing about replay for those teams and for a lot of those players that played it um, was that like some of the guys that maybe didn't get to play the HLTV games got to grind some HLTV games and get that like confidence build up. Because it's a lot in the beginning. I knew for myself when I started playing HLTV games, like there's some nerves, there's some things that you need to get out first that you have to like play through before you can like get comfortable in it. So there's definitely like I'm sure that helped a lot of the teams. And as you see now, for example, like a team like Spirit Academy, when they played the first time we played them, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? But now they actually like we pranked them some time ago and I got fucking smacked. Like they're just out aiming us. So like there's definitely some confidence things that could be built, and I think it's because of the replay.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely seems that way. I think there's been, noted improvements for a lot of players, and we've seen obviously like Mars NXT is the big one, but there's a good number of players being plucked up and picked up and all that kind of stuff into the tier one. So, I guess we could start on a line actually a little bit more about how an IGL in yourself. How do you see yourself making it to like a top level team? Do you need to keep playing in the Academy League? Do you need to keep making yourself noticed? Because at the moment, like I say, there is a bit of a starve. There's a few international lineups out there that I think are certainly looking for an English speaking IGL to pick up the pieces. Is there any knocks on the door on your end? How does it look?
Just knocks on the door, and I like right now I just focus on finding something that I feel like I can come a long way with. I'm not that interested in like playing those academy things anymore. I wanna like move on, and I think like I'm there to do it. So I'm just grinding like for myself right now. I'm watching demos, DMing, being ready, and I just work with my agent to find like options for me right now.
Indeed. So, I guess we can talk a little bit then about Sprout on that kind of same ceiling. It was a little bit weird. I think the way that it was announced maybe didn't note down that it seemed you were on more of a trial period than anything. So, what ends up happening there, right? Because I guess for people at home that don't quite know, it was like 5 maps that you played across 2 days, and then the IEM Brazil qualifier, if I remember correctly, didn't really go so well for the team in general. And then you end up, not making it onto the team on a permanent basis. Is there any sort of insight you can give us there as to why that happened?
Yeah, I can. I don't want to go too much into it.
Yeah, of course, of
I
course.
don't think that's a wise thing to do. But the base of it is that I play with Let Us Cook at the moment, and like those the team with Snacks and those guys, and yeah, we're playing. And then Sprout asked me if I want to join to play like the further like the next future cups, and I agreed to it. We have like what because they're getting home from was it Cats Wise I think.
Yeah,
So they're getting
playing.
home and we have like 2 days, and in those 2 days we go 6 maps, and then we play like the official that one day. And yeah, I don't want to go too much into it. I have hold no grudge or anything. They decide not to continue, and they just told me that like they think because my playstyle is very I would say control based, and their playstyle of what they're used to is really like hyper aggressive. Like the rounds are over like that. Um, so like, and they're really good at that. And they said that they don't think that they can get comfortable in it like right now. Like it will take some time for them to like get used to it, and I understand that. And then like they just told me that they need results like instant because the major is coming and stuff, and they thought it would take them too long to adapt to a more control based play style, so they decided not to continue.
Mm.
So I don't have any bad things to say. The situation was a little weird, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's still got to be tough though, right? I think it was a very quick turnaround. It seems like they are still working on what they want from their team or whatever. And obviously refreshes some fairly big boots to fill. They did pretty well, pretty some good success found underneath refresh and everything, and Xiphon, and all that kind of stuff. But obviously some changes needing to come in their eyes, and it didn't hit the ground running in the way that they wanted. I guess for the final few minutes, then we can talk about what you've got for the future. You said you're playing with the Let Us Cook boys. Are you still playing with them? Is that the team that you're with at the moment? I think I saw that you have a game lined up with Believe or something. I'm not sure if HLTV, for want of a better word, is to be believed on that front. But talk us through, what the future looks like for Maze.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go back to Let Us Cook. Like they found a replacement for me as soon as I left, so like I'm not gonna go back there. And for the future, like the belief is just like a mix for ECL,
Yeah,
so we're
right.
just gonna mix that out. But yeah, I think right now it's just focusing on the opportunities that are coming, like now after the RMRs, because it was kind of like tough. I had like 2 days or whatever before the RMRs to find something after Sprout, and it's not possible because people are set like with the teams. So right now it's just looking at options, and I'm talking with some, but we'll see what it is. I cannot say anything specific right now
Of course,
on
of
what it will
course.
become.
Indeed. All right. Well, yeah, I think we've got a few more minutes here to just kind of play out with. I maybe wanted to revisit while we can at the end a little bit of where how do you see yourself improving as an IGL? Maybe where some of the areas that you think you could be stronger at. Is there a more versatile playbook in there that you could work on? What sort of things do you think you need to bring to your game?
I think I like a lot, as I said, the control base years, and I think something that I could maybe adopt a bit more from playing with Sprout and also from playing with the Let Us Cook boys is a bit more of like the aggressive things, because I know a lot of especially international teams like to play this way, and it will be the easiest way in the beginning to like get some results and win some rounds. So I think, and this is what I'm doing right now as well when I'm watching demos, like adding things to my playbook that I think could be a bit more aggressive, explosive. So I have like a mix up between my style, the control based, and also like some aggressive things. So I'm able to play both basically. Because I have aggressive things, but my aggressive things is more like mix up things where I like to. I'm not gonna go into the way I like to approach the game, but yeah, basically I want to add some a bit more like aggressive things. So I master that as well in a control, in still a controlled way. I don't like this Furia style. This is not me. Um, but yeah, you get it.
Yeah. Right, fair enough. Cool. Well, I think that's going to do us. I've asked everything that I want to ask, so I think we had some nice quick insight there into the way you function, a little bit of your history, and maybe we'll get you on again once you've got a solid home, and we can talk a bit more about how that team ends up. But once again, mates, thank you very much for coming on, and
Thanks for having me.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
You're gonna love this video right here. You're gonna love it. Check it out right now.